Hello friends, I am Dr. Prashant Sharma and you are watching MEDICO'S Hub. This is a series of lectures on facial cranial nerve and we are going to discuss the facial cranial nerve in 8 lectures. In first lecture, I will give an outline of the facial cranial nerve and its course. In the second to 7th lectures, we will discuss the 6 parts or 6 segments of the facial cranial nerve. And in the last lecture, that is 8th lecture, I will discuss the conclusion or will conclude the facial cranial nerve along with its functions and the fibers. Now, in this lecture, we'll discuss just an outline of the facial cranial nerve. Now, this one is the brainstem and this is pons varoli, this is midbrain and this is medulla oblongata. This is cerebellum, this is 4th ventricle, that is metacarpal. Now, facial cranial nerve basically originates from 3 nuclei. First one is the main motor nuclei. Second one is the superior salivatory nucleus. And the third one is nucleus tractus solitarius. So this is the main motor nucleus of facial cranial nerve. This is the superior salivatory nucleus and this is the nucleus tractus solitarius or solitary nucleus. Now, the facial nerve originates from these 3. The motor fibers come out from these and the sensory from NTS, sensory will end on NTS, and this will give the parasympathetic neurons. So these 3 neurons come out, these 3 branches come out from these 3 nuclei. This is the facial nerve proper, that is, it is having the motor fibers, and this is the nervus intermedius. So this is facial nerve and this is the nervus intermedius. So from the brainstem, the facial cranial nerve emerges out from the pons. So this is brainstem, that is midbrain, pons varoli, medulla oblongata. Pons varoli is having the motor nucleus and this is superior salivatory nucleus and this is nucleus tractus solitarius. Now these will combine to form nervus intermedius and this is forming the 7th nerve. These 2 travel together up to an opening in the petrous part of the temporal bone. It is a basically small canal in the petrous part of temporal bone and this is known as internal auditory meatus or internal auditory canal. So this is basically the temporal bone and that is this one and this one. These 2 are running towards the petrous part of the temporal bone like this. This is the brainstem and the fibers are coming out. 2 nerves will come out. One is the facial nerve proper and another one is the nervus intermedius. Basically these are lying lateral to each other. Now they will come together and they will enter the petrous part of the temporal bone. This can be, this is already discussed in the cranial fossa, lectures on cranial fossa. So they will enter the internal auditory meatus. Now after entering the internal auditory meatus, they will exit out and when they exit, they are basically entering the internal ear in between the cochlea anteriorly and the labyrinth posteriorly. Here is cochlea and here is labyrinth. So it is basically superior and anterolaterally it is passing between the cochlea and the labyrinth. So these fibers which are running together, they will end at geniculate ganglia. This is geniculate ganglia. Here is geniculate ganglia. So it's important to note that after exiting from internal auditory meatus, they are traveling in a bony canal known as facial canal. Now facial canal is just like this. It will take an acute turn posteriorly from geniculate ganglia and then inferiorly. So this is facial canal or fallopian canal, and this is geniculate ganglia. Now the fibers, this is internal ear, they will move along the medial wall of the middle ear. Now this is the middle ear, medial wall, and after crossing the medial wall, here is the projection known as pyramidal eminence. We'll discuss in the next lecture about this. This is pyramidal eminence. So after crossing the pyramidal eminence, it will move vertically downward in the mastoid part of temporal bone. Then these fibers will run downward. They will emerge out of this foramen, which is known as stylomastite foramen, and will give various branches in the face, and also some branches are given to the temporal region. So this is basically the outline of the facial cranial nerve, and the facial cranial nerve is basically divided into 6 regions or segments. First segment is this, when it is starting from the brainstem and ending in the internal auditory meatus. So up to the start of internal auditory meatus, this is the first segment. It is also known as cisternal segment or intracranial segment. Now the second segment, this is the second segment, when it is passing through the internal auditory meatus. So it is also known as meatal segment. No branches are given by the first segment or cisternal segment or intracranial segment. Meatal segment also provides no branches. Then the third segment is basically in the facial canal's first part, that is starting from the end of internal auditory meatus and it is up to the geniculate ganglia. Genu means turn. So this is geniculate ganglia and this is the third segment. This was the second segment and this is the third segment. Third segment is known as labyrinthine segment. Second segment is meatal segment and the first segment is the cisternal segment or intracranial segment. Now from geniculate ganglia up to the pyramidal eminence, this part of facial nerve in the facial canal is basically in the middle ear. That's why this region from the geniculate ganglia up to pyramidal eminence, this is known as fourth segment, and this fourth segment is termed as tympanic segment. And then the fifth segment is starting from that is the vertical part of this facial canal. It starts with the pyramidal eminence and ends with the stylomastite foramen. This is the fifth segment and this is mastoid segment. And after emerging from the stylomastite foramen, it gives the extratemporal branches which is forming the sixth segment, that is extratemporal segment. So there are 6 segments. First one, from within the brainstem and up to the start of internal auditory meatus. This is the first segment. Second one is within the internal auditory meatus. Third one is at the starting from the end of internal auditory meatus up to the geniculate ganglia within the facial canal. That is labyrinthine segment. The fourth one is the tympanic segment, that is along the medial wall of the middle ear. The fifth segment is starting with the pyramidal eminence and ending with the stellum-striate foramen. It is the vertical part of the facial canal. And the last segment is the extratemporal segment, which is supplying the extratemporal muscles, etc. Now this is also a view. This is the pyramidal eminence. This is the tympanic part. This one is geniculate ganglia, and this one is the mastoid part. This is stellum-striate foramen in the mastoid part. So this is the outline of the facial cranial nerve and its 6 components. In the next lecture, I'll discuss the first segment of the facial cranial nerve. Hit the like button, share and subscribe our channel to get the latest updates and notifications.